See if it works.
Somebody will text me.
We got 6 minutes.
So you can't hear. Check it right now.
You can't hear.
But if you leave them,
Everybody
if you
called
leave your
it.
mics on
Can't-
all the time,
they said
then
they
you get
can't hear.
feedback, so you
Yeah.
have to turn them.
I'm gonna sit here, I don't care.
Does that bother you?
No.
I got my training worked out. I got it worked out.
This does.
So I'm good to go on that. But he says he's not getting any emails. He's missing all the emails that are going
That
out.
bothers the heck out of him.
I got H. Campbell going out.
I got it, but I
Do
ain't
what?
not received anything
Do you get yours on a computer at
on
home?
my phone.
Can
On
we
your
pass
phone.
it
So I
with
get mine on my
understanding if
phone
they
too,
miss a
but
payment,
mine
we can
comes
pull
up.
his
I don't
pay
even have a
license?
phone here.
Oh, to check it?
Probably not. That's a
You might
question
wanna
for
come
Tom.
in
I wish they'd get
on
here.
Friday or whatever, get them to check it.
Nothing
He's
to
missing
report.
tons of good
I
stuff.
love that.
Like training and everything.
Yeah, 'cause I know Mayor Wiggins had told me something about it. A training
Yes, yes.
up in Jackson.
Well, there is some in Jackson too. Yeah.
I thought, did you check to see if they work?
Who can you tell? Well, you want somebody to turn it on?
Oh my God. Look at me. Julie, check the meeting, see if you can hear.
Yeah, I finally got it straightened out.
Yeah,
I got on it, I logged in, and then I clicked, sign up for the general, and it just said register. I kept punching it, clicking on it, wouldn't ever do anything. So I went to Katie, instead I went that way and got to it and managed to, when I clicked on it, it was doing the same thing. So I went to the utility training calendar, and I clicked on it and I did. So, there you go.
Doug Brown emailed me back today.
He did. And I said, can you remove me? I said, I want me to call.
Hey, Sadie,
Check my,
turn the meeting on and see if you can get any sound and text me and let me know.
Hello.
Look here who I just got a call from.
All right, now we can,
Oh, what do you want? I ain't gonna talk to him. I ain't got nothing to say to him. I ain't got nothing to say to that guy. Is Tom being here tonight for the beer board meeting? Look here. I wonder if there's some way we could pass that with the understanding if they don't pay sales tax, we can pull their beer license. That's what I'd like to ask Tom.
did you sign us up for a conference?
I got an idea. Tom gets here. Well, it ain't gonna do no good to sell if we're not gonna get state tax out of it. Got 1 minute. I'll use your water.
I'm gonna need that.
That's okay. I'm trying to.
I was asking him cheese and prices at the counter with a glass of tea and how to over me. What you doing? I said, I'm eating
Frank Cates. Sadie can hear it. Sadie's Olive Branch, she can hear it.
Okay, just ask her.
You text her and ask her what you want to. Is it a quarter till?
Get me to your text.
You what? Yeah, right there. Just hit on that and send it to her. Hit a message and send it to her.
Okay, hang on.
Is it a quarter till? Tom, we need to see you.
Now, don't forget you got your lights on.
Mine's off.
Just hang on, lights on. She said yes, she can hear.
I asked Julie, she said she could do it.
Thank you.
Quarter till, we need to call the fair board meeting to order. Everyone's here, so we got a form. We'll go to the minutes from the last meeting, if everybody had a chance to look at them.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion in a second.
I'll second.
Bailey second. Bailey.
Okay. Minutes are approved.
We have to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So we can get right into this. Is the applicant here for the beer board?
Yeah.
You come forward, please. State your name, address.
Rahim Umlani, 8880 Preston Sierra Cove, Memphis, Tennessee, 38125.
Board, it's open for any of the board members that wants to ask any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Probably for our police department who did the background checks. I notice on the agenda that we have, item number 4 says off-premises beer. And I believe that's if you're selling beer at a store. But if you look back on the inside from the background check, it says on premises. So is that just a typo? It should be really off-premise and not,
That is a typo,
okay.
yes,
It is off-premise then.
off premise.
Absolutely, that's great. I thought it was. I have one more question. So, I noticed on the background check that was performed by, our Criminal Investigation Division, it did have a statement on there that, I believe the other gentleman, he may want to answer to it, rise and answer into it, that he had, they said 14 state tax liens against yourself from the state of Tennessee and the state of Mississippi from 2009 and 2016. Would you like to address that?
I never had any tax lien or something because I bought the house in 2018 and that time bank approved me loan. I just bought the new car 6 months ago and I don't have anything on my taxes or something. And that's the first time I bought by the business on my name.
Is Chris or Larry, either one out there?
Chris or Larry? Chief?
Come forward,
Question.
please. Would you come up for us, straighten this out?
Can I ask a question?
You go ahead.
So were the tax liens on personal property?
But I don't have any property. I live in a rent apartment.
And you've
Means I never had business or never had property before.
never owned property,
No.
never had a business?
That's the first time I got the beer permit or anything on my name. And we just run for background for the lottery and nothing came up from over there.
And you're Mr. Musani?
Yeah,
Could we ask Larry, if y'all don't mind, or Chris, the background check was pulled, how did it show up if they never had one?
Well, I didn't do the background check, our detective did that, but, this came back as tax lien is what was pulled up.
He said he never had one.
Well, it's pretty obvious that's what they found when the background check.
And you don't know what the tax liens were for?
No, I have no idea, this is what they gave us.
Of course, you could have, sales tax liens, you could have personal property tax liens.
I think it stated sale tax.
What if he never owned property and he never had a business?
It'd be hard to have liens.
State tax lien.
State tax.
Because see, lottery always does the Tennessee state background check. So they did both the background checks and nothing came up. Because state of Tennessee, they don't do anything without having a clear background. They wouldn't approve you for anything.
the lottery.
And they make you fill out a background check paperwork too for lottery application in Tennessee.
Yes.
So nothing came, like not even one single thing came up on there.
So if you would like, I could get in touch with, the detective and ask him if there's any more information that he could.
I'd appreciate it if you would.
Sure.
Because they do make mistakes on these things, you know, I think you've got a double A in your middle name, AA, so, you know,
Yeah. we could,
mistakes can
See if I
happen.
can get a hold of it and find out if there's something else.
Okay, thank you.
I asked if he ran the name or he ran the number on the license. He runs the number on the license, so that shouldn't be a mistake. Can I speak, Mr.
Go
Chairman?
ahead.
I'm very pro-business. You know, I want, it's in your best interest, it's in our best interest, but our town functions on sales tax. So we just want to make sure that that's not going to be an issue, going forward.
And we
wanna
don't
keep
want
the
someone
state
not
as
paying their
far away
taxes.
Wait a minute.
from our affairs as possible.
Go ahead. Is that Miss Debbie?
I was just saying, we don't want anybody who's not paying their taxes.
No, it's, I mean, we're doing, I'm in business for a long time in Memphis, almost 30 years. We have a bunch of stores in Memphis, a lot of them, and that's never been an issue. So, you know, you can, my background check is clear, I mean, you can put it up anywhere you want.
All we
So-
got to go by is what's in front of us.
No, I understand totally.
We're not accusing you of anything.
No,
but
not at all.
we
No,
buy
I'm just
it.
giving you my thing that we run a bunch of stores in Memphis and Jackson, Tennessee, and Olive Branch in Mississippi and stuff, so.
But what we have to go by is what
No,
we have to look
definitely,
at.
yeah.
Ms. Austin, do you have anything?
My only suggestion is reaching out to the Department of Revenue, maybe they can shine some light on it.
Well, we'd like to make a motion that we accept the application pending verification from the chief. He disappeared.
I think he'll
Or
be
what?
right back.
Oh, he's gonna go check on something? Okay. But we could do that, and, we've done something similar to that before, that as long as something didn't come back, it was still approved, rather than having to wait another 30 whole days.
I flipped it 4 times, I think I'm good with it.
Was that a motion?
No, Chief Earl's right there. I think we have a little bit of time. I got no problem waiting a minute.
While we waiting after the meeting's over, would y'all give these back to Mr. Bond? Get
I've scribbled all over mine. I hope that's okay.
they all the information on it.
Mr. Minor?
Well, I mean, of course, technically the applicant is Blooming 786 LLC. We've done a check on that. That is an LLC in good standing. It's a 2-member LLC. I assume it's these 2 gentlemen. One of whom is a clean check. I've discussed confidentially with other board members the law with respect to your permits.
I'm guessing in the future, if there is an issue, we'll hear about that from the state.
Certainly, I mean, the concern would be whether there has been an issue with payment of sales
If I may, now, I did, kind of what Alderman Scott was talking about, that, I just Googled into the Tennessee government and Googled into search for liens, and I put in the gentleman's name, and it came up 0, that there was none on the record.
If somebody'd like to make a motion to pass this with the understanding that everything comes back with Chris, we'll go ahead with this.
I'll make that motion.
Beg your pardon?
Now we can move on. Is there a
Somebody
second?
I'll second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? You'll get it with the understanding that everything comes back through that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Get a motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
There you go. Thank you.
I think everybody saw that. I tried to remember to tell everybody. You want me to get theirs or you do?
We should have waited. We're going to call the meeting to order. Give me one quick second. All right, Madam Recorder, we do have a quorum. All members are present. We're going to begin tonight with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. I'm going to call forward a visitor, Mr. John Gambrill. He is the youth pastor at Fayette Baptist Church, and he's here to lead us in our invocation this evening.
Absolutely, thank you.
If you could all, yes.
All right, let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight in Jesus' name. We're grateful for your blessings in our life, Father. We're grateful for the fact that you sent your son Jesus to die on the cross, Lord, for our sins so that we could be made right with you. God, we're grateful for the blessings on our community. Lord, I want to pray tonight for some of our fellow countrymen, Lord, in Los Angeles that are struggling, that are hurting, that have lost their homes, lost loved ones. We pray for all the civil servants that are working diligently, Lord, in that situation. So we lift them up tonight. Lord, thank you for what you're doing in Oakland. And goodness knows we need your direction, Father. We need your help, Father. On our own, we make bad decisions. But, Father, I pray that we would make decisions with your direction. Lord, I pray for these fine men and women that serve. Thank you for each one of them, the time they give to their community. And, Lord, during this meeting tonight, I pray that you give them guidance and wisdom. Lord, I want to pray Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 over them. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And so, Lord, bless our city as it moves forward. Thank you for Adrian and his leadership and these great leaders here around this conference room tonight. And I just pray you'd have your hand on everything that's done tonight. We love you. We thank you for your goodness to us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you for letting me pray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All righty. All righty, first up is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Mr. Ellis?
Yes, Mayor and Board, I would ask that we would add under item 16, other items of business, discussion of long-term rental for the activity center. We've had some inquiries about frequent people that rent several times a month, so I'd like to have a quick discussion on that with you guys. That's all I have.
Is there a resolution we can pass tonight?
No, sir.
Just a discussion now.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other additions or deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Next is the approval of the minutes from November 19th, our regular board meeting. If there's any discussion, or I'll take a motion when you're ready.
Mr. Mayor, I say, make a motion, we accept it.
I have a motion to approve from Alderman Bailey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Austin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, next we have a special item. We have a presenter, Mr. Josh Lawhead, to talk to us about our Industrial Development Board and give us an update. Do you have anything, or should I just call him up?
Mr. Lawhead can approach. I would say in your packet, there's an engagement letter for Mr. Lawhead, so that may be relevant as he makes his discussion. And thank you again, sir, for coming.
Absolutely.
Did you have anything?
Well, I was just gonna say that I would ask the board to review Mr. Lawhead's letter of engagement tonight and retain him, because without the board voting to retain him, he's not gonna be able to move forward in setting up our IDB for us. So he's here to go over all of that
And you would need a motion at the end of it to accept?
at the end of this presentation, yes.
Okay. Mr. Lawhead?
Thank you to the board for having me out here. My name is Josh Lawhead. I'm an attorney at Birch Porter and Johnson Law Firm in Memphis. And I have been asked to discuss how to set up an industrial development board and the procedure for doing so. And I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions at any time you might have. The first step to set up an industrial development board is for 3 duly qualified electors to file an application with the BMA to apply for the creation of an industrial development board. The duly qualified electors means 3 people, 3 homeowners who are in Oakland who are eligible to vote. Homeowners who also reside in Oakland and who are eligible to vote. I would simply need the names and addresses of the 3 people selected, and then I can complete the application, complete the application, as well as the proposed certificate of incorporation, which is the document that is filed with the Tennessee Secretary of State, which creates the industrial development board, which is technically a nonprofit corporation and would be a nonprofit corporation that is a subdivision of and under the town of Oakland. And the process would be that the application would be completed by these duly qualified electors. It would be signed. The certificate of incorporation would be attached to it. They would go before the BMA. The BMA would vote to approve the application and approve the certificate of incorporation, following which the certificate of incorporation would get filed with the Secretary of State's office, at which time the IDB would formally exist. At that point, the next step would be to locate or identify, I should say, and select 7, not fewer than 7, individuals who are residents of Oakland to be on the board of directors of the IDB. The board members cannot be employees or members of other boards of the town of Oakland. And those individuals need to be identified and approved by the BMA. And then at that point, that would constitute the Industrial Development Board. And from then, the Industrial Development Board would, subject to any requirements of the BMA, would have its first meeting and be open for business. And how things go from there depends on how structured, formal or informal, the BMA and the IDB want the IDB to operate, but the IDB could then set up policies or the BMA with the IDB could set up policies and procedures for how the IDB would operate if it so chose. It's not absolutely required. And the board would then meet. Again, however, you guys could determine how frequently it met, if it, or whether it's just going to be on an as-needed basis.
The 3 electors cannot be one of the 7 members of the board?
No, I believe that the 3 electors can be members of the board. I think they can be the same. The 3 electors can be members of the board, but the board members cannot be employees or presently serve on other boards of the town.
Is it customary for the 3 electors to be members of the IDB?
I don't know that there is, there's only so many that have been created, and I've only created 1 other, and I think that, and I did that last year, and I think that those 3 are on the board. And so there's only some, it's not every day that an IDB is created, but I think it's perfectly acceptable for the 3 electors to also be board members.
The ones that, go ahead.
What will it cost to get this started? Ballpark.
Well, ballpark, So the fees to the Secretary of State would be in the hundreds of dollars at most. And then my fees would be, as proposed in the engagement letter, would be on an hourly basis. I have already, it would not take very much time. Ballpark, I don't know,
10,000?
oh, less than that,
Okay.
less than that.
And that's what we would pay up front. We would get it established and running. Now, as they operate, they will be a source of revenue.
Correct.
And that has specific purposes that it can be allocated to. Is one of those purposes replenishing the cost of getting it started?
Sure, sure. So the IDB, that's a good question. The source of revenue would come principally from pilots, from payment in lieu of tax arrangements with applicants.
Right.
And those fees that would be, could be charged, that would have to be determined. How much is the IDB gonna charge for an application? How much is it going to charge for, to close a transaction? Is it gonna be, there's all sorts of parameters that could be selected. It's gonna be based on the size of the capital, or the improvements that are intended to be made by the applicant, or is it, there's different factors that could be done, but the funds do have to be used for economic development, or they can go back to the town. So yes, I mean, if the BMA would like any excess revenue originated by or derived by the BMA to be used to replenish funds that the town had to employ to get the IDB started, that is doable, yes.
Okay. Vice Mayor Cates?
What is the responsibility of the board of directors?
The responsibility of the board of directors is to vote, to listen to applications and applicants, to ascertain whether or not it would be a good, whether the requested incentive by the applicant would be worth it and would be a net benefit and net economic benefit to the town, and then would vote to approve or disapprove a proposed plan, a proposed development. Further, other purposes of the board are to ensure that the IDB is running and approve a budget and is running as it should.
So isn't it qualified just to be a citizen and live in Oakland?
Yes.
I think a registered voter also is a requirement.
To be a duly elected, to be one of the three electors, absolutely, that is true. I think it would definitely be a good idea for the board of directors to also be eligible to vote, but I did not see that when I double-checked it today as a requirement to be a director.
I was just going by what our attorney, Tom Miner, gave us in a letter back when this first came up in September. And he said, item 3, that they must be taxpayers and registered voters of Oakland. So.
Well, it is.
Putting things in writing.
I keep everything.
Whether it is absolutely required or not is definitely recommended that be the case.
Go ahead.
If Josh could also scoring the applicant, that you guys will actually train someone internally to score the applicant?
Sure. Well, sure. There's many IDBs determine whether or not an applicant should receive a pilot and the length of the pilot that it should receive, and potentially even the percentage of the ad valorem property taxes that will be abated versus not abated, based on what they call a matrix, which is essentially a spreadsheet that has factors as what is the intended total proposed capital investment, how many jobs are promised to be added to the roles within the town of Oakland, and what are the salary and benefits that will be provided to these employees, to establish a framework for determining, okay, well, yes, this application based on these numbers it justifies for example, a 7-year pilot or a 5-year pilot, or this does not justify a pilot at all based on the metrics that you're providing applicant. But that is not absolutely required. It is definitely, establishing some type of framework for determining whether and how much of an incentive to provide is definitely recommended. And I can definitely propose and show matrices that other IDBs that I represent have used or do use at present. But essentially, it's up to the board to determine how it's going to go about determining whether to issue a pilot and for how long.
Gotcha.
And one follow-up, if you could comment on the interplay between the municipal IDB and any county, the county.
Absolutely. So upon its establishment, the Oakland IDB can only abate town of Oakland taxes. So in order to abate, it is obviously what you would like to do to be as attractive as possible to a potential applicant who wants to build in a huge new building in the in Oakland and employ hundreds of people, is to tell them, you just come to Oakland and we can abate your Oakland and Fayette County taxes. In order for that to occur, however, there needs to be an interlocal agreement between the town and Fayette County, and it is the mayor who is the one who, at least in Shelby County, I'd have to look more closely at Fayette County.
What if the county has their own industrial development board?
The Industrial Development Board of Fayette County, I do not believe would be the party who I should say, abates Fayette County taxes. It is the mayor and or the Fayette,
County Commission.
Yes, the county commission, either that or the mayor of Fayette County. I'd have to look exact to be sure. In Shelby County, I can tell you it is the Shelby County mayor who determines whether or not to approve a particular, and there's, the interlocal agreement that you would have with Fayette County would have to be a negotiated document. We don't know at this, now what that would look like, what requirements Fayette County would make in order to grant you that authority. I can tell you that in Shelby County, the proposal, one of the municipalities in Shelby County wants to grant a pilot. The applicant wants Shelby County taxes abated. The IDB, the municipal IDB then submits the plan to the county attorney and requests that the county abate the county taxes, and it's up to the mayor as to whether to agree to that or not.
Okay. Mr. Ellis?
If we could circle back to the cost for a minute, please, make sure I understand this correctly. In addition to the original cost, this will need to be a budgeted item moving forward for this board, to fund this board correctly? And if so, typically how much and what? It's a volunteer board, so will money need to be allocated for training or for travel, or is that typical or not?
The IDB, that is a good question. So creating the IDB, the town ought to budget some funds, but it would principally be, unless there are a bunch of economic development initiatives that the town wants the BMA to undertake initially and wants to spend money on, it would principally be initially on attorney's fees.
Mr. Ellis, if I may, Mr. Mayor, on our first meeting we had when we talked about all this and the numbers were thrown around, whether it's just general numbers, but I wrote down on my notes here that the initial intake or cost could be $20K, and it would be self-funding. This is what I wrote when we were talking about it.
I may have thrown that number out just to be on the conservative side, but
All right.
I do remember when Josh helped set up Rossville's IDB, and I think James Llewellyn was involved in that process as well, but you had mentioned that ultimately, as the applicants come forward and the fees are paid by the applicants and the pilots are put in place, that there is
It should be self-sustaining.
self-sustaining and even a surplus.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, as applicants come in, I mean, the IDB need not meet until and unless there is an applicant who wants to create jobs and create investment and additional sales tax and all the other things in the town. And they would pay a fee that should, eventually, the idea would be that there would be sufficient applicants, sufficient number of applicants, a sufficient number of approved projects, that there is a surplus in short order.
Okay. Is anybody
And
else?
the fees that, I know you, or maybe James won, the fees are non-refundable. When they pay those application fees, those are non-refundable regardless of whether their application is approved or they get the pilot that they were asking for.
That's correct, that's correct, and also I would, we can make it that, and I would recommend that, once that all attorney's fees, both approving the pilot and then administering the pilot during the life of the pilot, be paid by the applicant.
Okay. And what's the name of this official letter?
The letter of engagement.
A letter of engagement. And you would need a motion to accept or approve?
To approve the retaining Birch, Porter & Johnson and Mr. Lawhead under the terms of his letter of engagement of January 8th.
And you're comfortable with this and think that this is standard?
I watched how he put together also really quick, and so,
Okay.
and Mayor Waters is very satisfied.
So right now, I'm looking for a motion
To,
for everything that Attorney Minor just said.
I make a motion.
I've got Alderman Campbell with the motion and Alderman Austin with a second. How will that work? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Great, thanks a
Lawhead.
lot, appreciate that. I can get, as soon as I get the identities of the electors, I can get the documents to you in short order, and we'll be off and running.
Very good, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Who will be turning in these names, all of us?
I would think so, yes. Let's talk about, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was gonna ask later, are you talking about who can be nominated, or who do we nominate to? Who appoints the
I would like
original electors?
I would like to know who is gonna appoint the ones who will be on this board of directors, and the other three just whatever
As I
it is.
understand it, that we would
Ms. Yvonne,
solicit,
is there a way we can turn the volume up? I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't wanna mess anything up.
so do you want to answer that, Tom? Okay.
I was reading the second.
We wanna know who nominates or who appoints.
Appoints the
I think
board.
the board has to approve the electors, right?
The board has to approve them, but it says whenever any, this is 7-53-201, whenever any number of natural persons, not less than three, of course, three is the number that's always used, each of whom shall be duly qualified elector and taxpayer of the municipality, files with the governing body. So, I mean, the board doesn't necessarily have to nominate who these three people are. If you go out and recruit those three people and you know that they are, but you can certainly nominate them if you would like.
I'm talking about the board of directors, the seven.
Again, I think that they do need to be recruited. And then once you recruit them, the board.
To approve.
Who recruits them?
Well, the mayor can, other board members, Harvey can.
Okay. So any of us can appoint somebody or bring up a name and pass it?
Someone, but certainly recruit.
We can submit a name for Mr. Corton.
Right.
Yeah, I can throw my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you, we're floundering here.
Yeah, the board, you have the 3 to get the ball rolling, to be able to get the legislation, to be able to get an IDB. Then after that, the board, you would select who's gonna be on the board of directors of the IDB. And normally what you want, since you're handling money, you're dealing with financing, you would want a banker, you'd want business owners. You wanna have people that are familiar with financing for the most part. And kind of a wide range within your group that'd be part of your 7. Do we have a list? We have some ideas. Not, but that would be after the adoption of that, and that would be brought forward to you, Frank.
Would it be appropriate for me to suggest anyone that you have in mind, just refer them to me, and I'll pick it up from there, and then we'll get those names back to you guys.
There you go.
But that really doesn't move forward until the board approves this resolution.
Right.
Saying that it's necessary that we, and in the town's best interest, that we have this IDB. And that's what Josh is going to prepare.
Okay.
But we gotta get the three people that essentially petition the board to move forward with this.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Correct.
Yes. Any other discussion?
I have a question. The board members, the 7 that we have recruited, do they have to be a resident in Oakland?
Yes.
A lot of our business owners don't live in Oakland. Might need to take that into consideration.
Okay, we're gonna move to the next thing. This is citizens' comments. It's open for any Oakland citizens to be heard on items and concerns. Citizens are to be recognized by the chair and come forward to the front of the room before speaking. Each speaker shall state their name and address for the record. Is there any citizen here that wishes to speak tonight? Okay, because I'm not gonna read the rest of this. We're gonna go to the next item on the agenda. Seeing no one coming forward, we're moving to the next item on the agenda. Comments from the mayor. I don't have much tonight. I will say that, I know that Mr. Ellis is aware, and some of the department heads, we do have some projects that are in the makings, let's say, coming up. I think we, I say all the time, we got a good team of department heads. We have very good employees. I think we have a good board, and this is our first meeting back after the holidays. I think 2025 is gonna be good for the town of Oakland, but I guess this time next year we'll know for sure. Are there any comments from the Board of Aldermen? Vice Mayor Cates?
I was just asking Harvey before the meeting started, and I think he's gonna bring it up in his comments about this speaker behind me here, so I'll just wait and let him do it.
Okay. Alderman Campbell.
I just want to welcome everyone back, hope everyone had a new year. Let's get busy.
There you go. Alderman Austin?
Let's get 25 going.
Alderman Homer?
I would like to give a big kudos out, because I came up on my Facebook thread today of about how fabulous our flock cameras performed. Because working with, I think, Atoka, our detective, Lieutenant Kevin Perry, was notified by another agent in another neighboring town that there were some people getting things out of their cars, and our Fair Oak subdivision people that same day were reporting the same incident back in November. And Lieutenant Perry, using our flock cameras, were able to go back and identify that car, which was the same car, and he crossed through multiple states in order to track these individuals down. And they were captured and whatever, and arrested, and a lot of guns and things like that. And I think that's a kudos when some people say, well, why did we spend this money back in August of '23 for flock cameras? This is one of those reasons, and applause to Lieutenant Perry for doing this. Thank you so much. That's what I have.
Alderman Bailey? I have nothing. Excellent. You're my favorite tonight. Consideration of department director reports.
I got something I'd say real quick. I know I said I wasn't going to, but
That's
I'd like-
okay, go ahead.
I saw on the internet this week, a couple of days ago, where it's somebody going door to door, I guess. I don't know how true it is. That's knocking on these doors at night, and they were telling people not to open the doors, call police. So everybody be careful about this. I don't know if police has been notified or heard anything about it yet or not. I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead.
That's okay.
Mr. Cates, I can address that for you. It happened to me at my house last night at 8:30. A knock, knock, knock came on the door, and of course, our Chief Earl's aware of it, as well as I contacted our town manager about it at the same time, and I opened up the door and said yes, and it was a young man, skimpily dressed, as cold as it was, and he started peddling a particular security system that I've been approached once before already at my door. Well, I kept listening to him and say, you know, we don't accept vendors going door to door here in Oakland. Oh, well, I've got permission from the police department. I said, is that right? Wow. Tell me all about it. You know, oh yeah, I help them out all the time. I said, really? So I told him, I said, well, and I said, well, you can't do that here. Well, who says? I said, well, me, for one thing, I'm an alderman and I helped voted for this. I said, so you cannot do this. And I said, I'm not going to call the police, but I suggest you quit doing what you're doing right now. And I think the chief can expound on it if he wants to, but I did notify our town hall manager about it. They did send a patrol car out trying to look for him in the neighborhood. But yeah, it's happening.
That kind of leads us into department head reports, I guess. Did the guy have a permit, chief?
No.
We sent cars out there and we located the individual. They work for Vivint Security Systems. They were told that the city does not allow door-to-door peddlers based on your vote, that we only allow nonprofit, and the police did not give permission to him, and he was ran out of the city.
All right.
They've been given a warning in the past. I think we even gave them a citation maybe a year and a half ago. They get van loads of these young people, bring them from out of state, drop them off in the neighborhoods. The last ones were from Utah that they dropped off out here.
Oh, yeah.
Might explain why he was dressed the way he was, I'm not sure.
I've seen them from North Carolina and Ohio and California. Man,
Florida.
they come to Oakland 6 or 8 times a year. I think they want our business.
I know they got a couple of them over in our neighborhood within the last year that got tickets.
I'll just call the dispatcher if somebody knocks on your door like that, it's in the car.
Okay. Is there any other department head that wants to talk about anything? We all have the reports. I'm assuming we all read them. I know I did. Does anybody have anything for the board tonight?
I got something for the water department.
Well, does any alderman have something for the department head is the next thing. So go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Is it normal to have 918 send out for, I guess, late notices or whatever it is?
That number varies month to month, but that's pretty,
What?
that's average number.
Seemed like a lot. And 123 that was called, or y'all had that many calls?
We get a lot of service calls, a lot.
Where was the 6 repairs? It was something major that
The
one.
one that affected Adrian, Mayor Adrian, in the waters, we had two near Austin's house, one on Newbern Farms, and one over on Tomlin Road.
There wasn't just major leaks, so was just one of them?
Just one of them was major.
I just saw that number, and I just.
That was a high number. We normally don't have that many per month.
Did you say one on Newbern Farm?
Yes.
That's a new.
It was hit by a contractor. So,
Excellent.
yep.
Okay. I will tell you that we do have a lot of shut-offs every month. Mr. Ellis and I attended Delta Regional, whatever it is, and we're working with Mr. Armstrong to try to get some of these people who don't pay their bill every month some financial assistance so that they have less shut-offs to do. That's something that we're working on. Go ahead.
Comment, kind of on that same topic. Hopefully we can have a work session next month, and one of the things I want to bring at that work session is, I've discussed it in the past, but I think it's time to revisit it. There are several companies that offer leak protection insurance for our residents, and with the rates as high as they are, I think that's something we need to revisit again. So if we have a work session, I'll be addressing it at that time.
Sure. Does anybody else have anything for department head? Go ahead.
I would like to ask Chief Walls.
Sure.
Oh, no.
It's not anything bad, but
I think Chief Wells, wasn't your New Year's resolution to work on brevity?
Well, Chief Gaines has a dot on my back right now, so.
I noticed we're gonna start the inspections again, the fire and safety inspections. I have a lot of concerns I hope that the department catches as far as the backside of the buildings being having some obstructions and things that would stop the egress from the fire department from entering the sides where the shut-off valves are for the sprinkler systems and things. I'm really concerned about the Oakland Post Office because the back of their parking lot is chronically full of racks and there's some shrubbery that's overgrown. Are we gonna look at some of those situations and try to get those businesses to address them?
That particular business, that's gonna be an interesting, take. We'll have to look at the back of it. I know, some of our strip malls, problem we have is the dumpsters. And I think you know the one main we're talking about, that you can't get to the sprinkler system pump in because if they were put in where they're supposed to be, the dumpsters, we could get by them. But the trucks come in, they pull them in the middle of the street and they leave them there. We can't access them. We have to actually lay hand lines down to it. So these are the type of things in which that we'll definitely look at that. We have to be able to get to these. I know this has been a problem in the past and we'll address them and then they'll go right back to them. Well, the answer is going to be if they don't stay conforming, we're going to have to cite them into court. But that's their decision.
Is there anything in place as far as giving them a fine or?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Ellis?
Chief, would you speak briefly to the weather siren that was installed?
Yes, we're after a 2-year project of getting the new siren up at the Newbern Farm Road. Within the next couple of weeks, it'll be in place. What's excited about this, in the matrix of the sirens that we had, that was actually a dead spot. This means that, like Twin Oaks, down in your area, it was dead. Well, this siren is going to take care of all Mebane down and all the new construction down there, all the way up through the new construction down to Twin Oaks, all the way down to the very back of that area. So it's going to give us a lot better coverage. And as high as that siren is, it's 60 feet up. Another concern is where the siren is located behind City Hall. We may end up later moving that siren further east to cover those subdivisions, Northwood and all that are behind that hill. So kind of excited about it as far as sirens. But another thing we're trying to do is which we already had one article in the paper educating the public, they're not just tornado sirens. They're a disaster siren. You know, in California, they had fires. Well, the biggest thing we're concerned about is not forest fires, brush fires, but what if we have a major hazardous material spill? How do we notify people that something's going on? Well, we need to educate them in what the siren means and what to do once they hear it. So, as far as sirens, unless the police department wants them back, we're excited about it.
Hey, Chief, in that vein of notifying the public, why did we change from noon on Saturday to test those sirens to noon on Wednesday to test those sirens?
Because we have more personnel, because we actually want to be out where each siren is and have a personnel to make sure the siren's working and so on like that. And the communities around us do it on Wednesday. Saturday, we also had a problem because you had kids down at the ball
I was
fields.
down there a lot.
Yeah, and it's pretty loud. And matter of fact, where that siren's located versus the children playing ball, it's better that they're not hearing that.
I was here the first day it happened and no one knew and they thought that we were being attacked by
Which we had put on Facebook, we put it in the newspaper, and we'll continue to do that.
All right. Did you have some?
That's it.
Okay.
Can I follow up?
Yes.
I reposted that post on Oakland Speaks for You, by the way, about the sirens. We had some concerns from the citizens about the fires that happened in California. Can we assure the citizens that live in Oakland that we have everything that we need as far as training and equipment?
Oh, yes.
To make sure that that doesn't happen here, and that we look forward to, I had been in discussion with several people before I was elected about getting some kind of system set up so that we can have some policies and procedures in place for the public's protection.
Yeah, we have
And
everything
stuff.
we do, everything we do, from pulling the hose line, total operations is under, SOPs. Our water system, we actually have a pretty adequate water system. We have an ISO rating of a 4, which also reflects on the water department, because 50% of that rating is your water system and how good it is. Now, somebody says, well, do we have water in the fire hydrants? No, we don't, because the water's below ground, and that's the system to open the fire hydrant up. But, and we have a contingency plan if, just like the neighborhood, you have a water break, what do we do to supply water to that neighborhood if the water mains are jeopardized? Well, last year, we went from one fire hydrant to another with a large diameter hose and supplied the whole community with water. Plus, we have access to tankers. So anything like that happens, we're thinking ahead of what are we gonna do if we do? Because the fire department is an insurance policy. And you have to have that insurance policy in place. What happened in Florida, I'm not going to judge. I think, well, but I don't think that would happen here. Now, what happens if we have a major tornado come through? Well, that's where mutual aid and automatic aid partners come into place, where we have agreements with Germantown and Collierville. After the storm's over, they come in to assist us, but we provide them assistance. So it's a big plan. And matter of fact, next Wednesday, we're starting on a new plan with the new EMA. Excited about that, about moving on with some projects.
Anything else, Miss Austin? Everybody's looking at me and pointing to their watch. Y'all asking questions. It's not me, okay? Mr. Frank's timer stopped working.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I had it said, it just didn't buzz.
All right, come on.
If
Town
I-
manager's report. Give it to me, Mr. Ellis.
Forgot to buzz.
One thing briefly, there was a lot of conversation in recent months about board travel and expense. So I emailed out to the board about some upcoming opportunity to go to Nashville for the Tennessee Municipal League Legislative Conference. It's a 2-day event, Monday and Tuesday, March 3rd and 4th. I think I would like to go. I think Mayor Wiggins would go, and Alderman Hummel has requested. I just wanted to bring this before the board if you want to have any discussion or anything. I think it was pretty clear that moving forward that we will not be in that situation again. So I just want to make sure that you guys are good with that, and if any of you want to go or are interested, just let me know. So if you want to have some discussion on that, that's why I brought it up.
I think we're good unless anybody wants to. I made my point pretty clear a few months ago. I have no problem. There is great benefit in being face-to-face, one-on-one with people who do what you do in another place. They have similar issues, similar problems. It's not just taking classes, it's not just training, it's making those connections so you know who to reach out to in the event of stuff. As long as the process is not abused, then it's of benefit.
I've talked to it before, I'm gonna say it again. I'm for the town doing this, but I think y'all should do the reservations, and if anybody don't wanna stay where you got it, they pay their own way.
Yes.
Understood.
Yes, and I think Mr. Ellis has addressed much of that. Yes.
I'd like to put my name on that list.
Okay.
I think it's a really good thing because it also, our utility training is mandatory. We got to get 12 utility hours of training. And at this event, there will be 2 hours of utility training on ethics and cybersecurity. So if you took those 2 hours, plus if you took the one that's coming up January 21st through the 23rd through Zoom, which is for new elected officials with updates, that's 7.5 hours. You add that to those 2 there, you've got 9.5. There's one January 30th that's 1.5. You've almost got your 12 hours right there sewn up. It's done. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of 2025.
I'm doing all of mine on the line. That's 7 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah, I've got the January 21st through the 23rd, and I've
One
got the
it's
February
also-
7th.
It's also one in February too. It's
Yes.
total about 7.5, 8 hours. So I'm doing all mine online. I'm not going to Nashville.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna move on. The next item is old business. We have one ordinance under that old business. It's ordinance 2413 to amend the city codes of ordinances, Title 12, Building and Utility Codes, Chapter 1, Standard Code adopted. This is the second reading and final reading. Is that correct?
Correct.
I will need a motion to hear.
Make a motion to hear it.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Cates. Do I have a second? Second from Alderman Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Ordinance 2413. I guess, you know what? At this time, I'm going to declare a public hearing. If there is anyone who is here that wants to speak in favor of the ordinance, please come forward now. If there's anyone here to speak against the ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing no one coming forward, public hearing is closed. I guess at this point, we need to call Mr. Joe McDonald up if there's any questions from him. And Mr. Ellis, do you have anything to add from when we heard this before?
Not at all. I could repeat what it's for as a review if you'd like. It'd take just a minute, and then Joe can expound more if need to. So basically, we're upgrading the code. We're replacing the North Carolina handicap code with the International Code Council version. We're also adding the International Swimming Pool and Spa to our codes, which has never been there. And we are also, one of the amendments is, we're adding is requiring the heat detectors in garage.
I heard a short blurb about heating detectors in garages in our previous meeting. Mr. McDonald, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Anybody have any questions at all?
You go along with this? Are you going along with this all the way? Are you for this all the way?
I am.
You're the one who suggested the change, right? That's right.
I am.
All right. There's no other discussion. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion accept.
Motion to accept by Alderman Campbell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Alderman Humble. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. There is no new business for ordinances. There's no old business for resolutions. New resolutions. Resolution 2501 for Fire Station Number 2. This is a request for proposal. Do I have a motion to hear?
Motion to hear.
Motion to hear from Alderman Hummel. Mr. Ellis, Resolution 2501.
Yes, I'm asking permission from the board to authorize me to send out a request for proposals for engineering and design and construction plans for a future fire station number 2. At this time, it won't cost us anything. I just want to send that out. Chief and I have been discussing. We've had several new homes on that west end that have begun construction. And in my opinion, it's time to start moving forward, at least in that direction, getting some design and getting some cost estimates and things like that.
Okay.
This will come back before the board.
This is just the first step. Does
Just the
anybody
first
have
step,
any?
yes.
I do have a second, Mr. Mayor. I was going back through my folders, which is growing thick on the fire station number 2. And I was looking back now, and I guess the terminology I'm confused with on there. I see on this terminology is for the professional service for engineering architectural firm. Well, I showed back in January 2023, we had resolution 23-13, and that was a resolution authorizing professional service agreement with Renaissance Architects, not the real estate firm who we bought the land from, but Renaissance Architects for schematic design of fire station number 2. Did that not ever go through? We had a meeting on it. That's not the same thing as this?
I was actually not here at that time. Chief, can you expound on that a little bit? It never went.
Never, we discussed it, but it never went through.
I think there was a disagreement with the previous town manager in the direction when the chief, they wanted two different types of buildings, and I think it just kind of died on the vine as a story I've heard.
All right. Yeah, I think it's good to go forward with this because we closed on the property in spring of 2022, and here it is, 2025. And we also saw what's, as we just brought up about the fire, of not being prepared, and we certainly don't want to have any deaths on our record, so I think we definitely something we got to move forward.
And also for information, previously in January, I can't remember what year, the board passed a resolution authorizing us to enter into a loan agreement with rural development. we've yet to do that. We have a little time to do that. Last time I
Yes.
talked to them, it was 3.7% interest rate. I told him I'd get back with him after the first of the year when we pick this back up. We haven't moved on that, but the board's I've already been authorized to do that. So once we get the cost estimates, you know, we move forward, that will probably be the next step.
Excellent. All right. Any other discussion? Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
To approve.
Motion to approve,
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Up next, Resolution 2502. Oh, we get to start all over.
Yeah.
This is for municipal audit services, a request for a proposal. Can I have a motion to hear? Motion to hear from Vice Mayor Cates. Mr. Ellis.
Very similar motion authorizing me to put out a request for proposal for independent audit firms for fiscal year 25-26. Wickberg is currently our auditor. This is their last year under contract with us. They will complete this audit. I just want to go ahead and be proactive and get this out there and gather information for our next auditor. I'll bring this back before you guys once it's done.
And just for the new board members, every 2 or 3 years, it is good to change and get different auditors. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Rice. I think the state recommends that you try to get a different auditor from year to year. Is that correct?
It is recommended that you do change your outside independent auditors every several years.
Frequently.
Not every year, though.
Okay.
I'm not taking up for the ones we got, but they done a good job, a lot better than the ones that we had before that. So we gotta take that in consideration when this comes up. You don't want somebody that just wipes the cream off the top. You want somebody to go to the bottom, and that's what we found out this last audit. We found out stuff that the audit never even knew about till this time. So I'm not taking up for them. I don't have anything to do with them. I'm just making a suggestion. We need to really be careful who we go with when we get this.
They did a good job. Did you have anything, Mr. Minor?
No.
Okay. Any other questions, any other discussion? Can I have a motion? Motion to accept, Alderman Bailey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor Cates. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
All right.
Alderman Cates or
Oh,
Alderman
Campbell,
Well,
Campbell.
Cates, he said it at the same time, and I always
Oh,
defer to the
okay.
Vice Mayor because it's appropriate.
Didn't matter.
Mr. Cates wins all ties. All right, other items of business, long-term rental agreement. Mr. Ellis, Chase, you want to come up and speak to this, or not really?
I can.
We've had a couple of renters that rent the facility. There's some clubs, sewing clubs, et cetera, that have requested that we possibly look at giving
Yes.
them maybe a discounted rate because they rent more often. If you
Yeah.
could elaborate,
Yeah,
please.
well, I got a call. There's a group, some ladies who do quilting.
Fayette County Quilters.
Yes, I think the lady who runs it lives in Arlington, but a large number of her group lives in Oakland, and they've been using our activity center and want to continue to do so. But they cannot afford $300 for them to have their monthly thing. And so this idea kind of came up between us, you know, having a one-time party is, you know, good, but if you have someone who's gonna meet month to month, is there something different? We just wanted to have a discussion with the board.
I mean, it's just a question that kind of came about. We've been working with Fayette County Quilters since I've been here. So it was just the question of, you know, and this is for any group really. You know, if they want to come in, you know, rent the building out one time per month for the whole year. It's just a topic of discussion though. I mean, it could be for anybody, not just
How
them.
much discount are you talking about?
I haven't put any numbers together. I'm going to be honest, because me personally, I feel like the fees that we put in place were fair to what we did when we came to the last one, when we came into what we did for the $200 for the 3 hours. And for me personally to to kind of change everything up for, you know, for a group, like how many times are we gonna do this, you know?
Well, I don't think it would be changing it up. It would be adding more of a long-term thing. And
Yeah.
again, this is just for discussion, for you guys to give Mr. Ellis a little bit of direction. You know, we also have a provision in there that says that non-for-profits can use it at no cost from time to time. But what about these small little bitty clubs? I mean, what if the American Heritage Girls want to use the building, you know, once a month to do whatever or something like that? Is it something that we want to consider, having a separate policy for clubs and small groups like that? Or do we just keep it the way it is and tell them, you got to pay? That's up for you guys to talk about. They asked us to help them out because they cannot afford our new higher rate. That's the only reason this is coming up tonight. Go ahead.
I think it's a good idea.
How many hours a day do they just 4?
I think they rent it for 5 every time they come in and rent it, 5 hours.
Is it a set time each month? Like I belong to a book club,
So-
we meet at the same time.
So what if you just charge
So
them?
so it alternates months, so like this month, it would be a Saturday, next month it would be a Wednesday. So they kind of alternate
Oh.
every month. or so.
What if you just do away with the extra hour pay and keep the regular 4 hour?
That's an option. We could do that.
What'd you say, Alderman Cates? I couldn't hear you.
He said he usually do it 5 hours, so this last time we do it 4 hours and then so much hour after that.
Right.
So charge them the regular 4 hours and give them the 5th hour. See if they could afford that, instead of paying the extra for the
Well,
5th hour.
What did they say they were paying? $45 when they first started?
Yeah, so it started out, before I got here, I think Carrie was saying, that she was just renting the building out for $50, you know, every time. And then we went to the schedule of the, deposits, so it was like $70, but, you know, the $35 back. And then we went to the $100, you know, flat fee. And then, you know, we obviously went up to this new one that we're at. So that 200 for 3 hours, so.
Well, I don't want to make a decision tonight. I'd like to do some research because I have some friends that live in other cities that meet multiple times. As a matter of fact, their agreement that they had for renting their space out was part of the basis of what I brought in that set the tone for our rental agreement. And I've still got that at home, but I'd like to check around and, well, what do you do to multiple people or whatever?
Tom, could you get into any kind of discrimination? Are you doing something like that?
Well, I don't know enough specifics to even know how to address that. I would have to know more specifics of what is being considered. You know, I mean,
Maybe it's something we can work on in the workshop with the next meeting, for the next month's
Yeah.
meeting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like that.
And you get together tomorrow or something like that? All right,
Sounds good.
sounds
Thank you, guys.
Cool.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Mr. Ellis, I know we have many items to discuss. We're probably gonna need a work session in February.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming we're gonna try to stick to the first Thursday, if possible,
I would think so, yes, sir.
February the 6th.
The first Thursday is the 2nd. No, it's January.
No, February 6th.
No,
Is everybody good with a work session on February 6th? What time would we? Who can meet earlier? I think we
Oh,
said,
who
I
can-
think
yeah,
we
I
did
can-
a 6 o'clock, but I think Mr. Ellis wanted to know if we could either do it 5 o'clock or maybe even in the afternoon.
It's up to you guys.
In the afternoon, all the employees are here, but I know some of us work. I'm not some of us. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, I'm not old enough to retire yet.
I wouldn't
But
want- I wouldn't
would
want
an
to-
afternoon meeting,
I wouldn't
would
want
an
to do it
afternoon
before-
workshop be something you could do, or do you need to do it at 5 o'clock?
Probably about 5 o'clock would be fine with me.
Okay,
That's fine with me too.
5 o'clock, February the 6th. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Ellis, I know the items I was writing down and we're logging on about to make certain they don't fall off the scope of things here. We're gonna talk about at the workshop, the water cutoff relief program that you and the mayor discussed about. Also, the activity center fee, long-term rental, coming up with some of that. I'd also like to add something to the workshop that has to do with seniority regarding your employment when you were here before. And it only pertains to vacation. I think, it's my understanding, I got an email about it twice with the prior board, and I got one with this board, and I've formulated opinion, which I'm not gonna discuss right now, wait till we get into a workshop. But I would like to have that put on there so we can move forward with that, please.
Okay, and I had a couple more things. The park project going, I sent an email with a spreadsheet and bids and things like that, so I definitely would like to update you guys on the park project. And I believe Alderman Campbell had some interest in bringing back up the de-annexation process. Is that true? Would you like to have that on the agenda as well? Or
What is it?
de-annexation? Remember we brought it up 6 months ago, 3 months ago? That's the only thing I have. Anybody else have anything else?
We don't want to overload it.
Okay.
Okay.
Might be able to give an update on the IDB at that time too.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
All right. No invoices, Miss Yvonne? That's 2 months in a row. Okay. Well, that concludes our business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
There we go. All in favor, please stand up.
Yes.